Good afternoon, everybody. So, I wanted to talk on how demons came about and the whole situation we're dealing with today, real quick. So, what happened in Genesis 6? You had, after God created the earth or remodeled it for mankind, and they fell, and then Genesis 6 occurred where they had fallen angels come, a group of them called the Watchers, and they procreated with human women, creating the Nephilim in the land, which were the giants of old, the men of renown, which I believe pre-flood was mythology. What they speak of now as mythology was pre-flood reality. And so the demons were the disembodied spirits of the hybrids, which were the copulations between the Watchers, the 200 fallen angels called the Watchers that were separate from the fall of Lucifer and the third. They procreated, so they had these hybrids. God didn't create them, but the fallen ones did. It says they do not procreate in heaven, but it doesn't mean that outside of heaven that they couldn't procreate. A lot of people have a problem with that. It shouldn't be an issue. It says the sons of God. A son of God is Adam, is labeled as a son of God because he was built in his perfection. Christ, because Christ is everything. Son of man, son of God, the son of God. And the God, man in the flesh, Yeshua. But you had those fallen angels, and then it says that God locked them up in chains until their time of total damnation. Maybe they'll be blotted out or thrown in the fiery pit or something. So they were locked in chains, and anything spoken of in the New Testament that speaks on fallen angels is in Peter, and it is in Jude. And it says that each time that it mentions the fallen angels in Peter and in Jude, it mentions them as being in the times of Noah. They're the ones that were locked in chains from the times of Noah, that left their first estate. This is talking about the Watchers. And with that being said, what you're dealing with when you get into narcissism, for instance, you're dealing with, I do believe, the demons, which were the disembodied spirits of the giants, the Nephilim. So they have their hybrids. They couldn't go to heaven, they couldn't go to hell. They were just forced to roam on the earth looking for a body because they were once in a body. And so they want to be in a body or lust for a body so that they can perform lusts themselves. And the fallen angels do not need a body, because in the Bible, they, for instance, the angelicos, the holy angels, they came to Abraham. They came to like Abraham and some of the other, like the judges, and they came to them in human form, always a man. And so we have to follow the Old Testament and the New Testament, just the Bible in general, as what we would expect an angelic host or to come in what form, how would God send them? And because he only sent them as a man, then we could only expect for it to be a man if it was an angelic host. So if it was anything else, it wouldn't be of God. Say it was a woman or a child or something like that, then that would be a deception of the enemy. But see, fallen angels they have a different set of rules that they have to follow. They live in disobedience to God. So with that being said, they can do things. They have different laws, okay? And they can come as a child. They can come as as something else and claim to be. So we never know when we're entertaining angels, it says in the Bible. So, but we also don't know sometimes, unless we have discerning of spirits and we use our intuition, if we're dealing with demons or fallen angels. But fallen angels are not demons. They're sons and daughters, were the copulations of fallen angels. They also procreated with the animals. That's why it said they were able to interject their seed into animals, but I think they were able to shapeshift, it speaks on. And so with that being said, they either shapeshifted and had actual intercourse with these things, or they actually interjected their seed somehow. So half fallen angel, half chicken, may be a raptor, for instance, because God wouldn't create something like that. But they had hybrid animals mixed with fallen angels, all kinds of different copulations. That's why God flooded the earth out. He flooded the earth out because there were all these procreations during the time of Noah. And that's why I believe that mythology is pre-flood reality when you're speaking of these things, because it was nothing but monsters walking around. And it speaks of that only those 8 people on that boat, Noah and the other 7, because 8 is like eternity, right? And 40 days and 40 nights of rain means change. 40 is change. And so there were 40 years in the desert. It was change. Christ went in the wilderness for 40 days, right? Change. So these are things that occurred, and a lot of people in church like to say that the fallen angels are locked in chains, or, but that's just talking about the watchers. Or they'll call fallen angels demons, and that's not the truth. So where are the fallen angels is my point. Well, when you look into conspiracy theories and the Illuminati, what they call the Illuminati, it seems as if the hierarchy of this world system, the enemy system, is the beast system. And the beast system, in my opinion, means no love. As the mark of the beast is just no love. Because without love, you can't have faith, you can't have hope, you can't have any of the gifts of the Spirit. And if you have no love, you're almost in a damnation state. Because if you cannot feel love and you cannot work those centers in your mind and your brain, because you're so overrun at that point, how do you get it back? It's almost like when it talks about people losing their soul, is it just that they gave up on love and they just cannot feel love anymore? It makes me wonder, because those are the centers that will be turned off. And it talks about that there are men and women walking around at some point in time, and they will be seared. Their hearts and their minds will be seared. Seared meaning burnt, like there's no use to them anymore. When you look at some of these situations with narcissism, they say on MRIs and PET scans that they cannot show up. And what's funny is, it's not funny, but what's interesting is the anatomical left is always the enemy side, and Christ is the anatomical right, because Christ is the right hand God the Father, the anatomical right. That's why you'll find everything in the Bible on the right hand anatomically was blessed and the left hand was cursed. They threw the nets to the left, didn't catch anything. They threw them to the right, they almost sunk the ship. The sun rises in the east side, with heaven being high north on the flat earth. That would be the right side. The chosen people came from the east side, the right side. The west side is where the sun sets, Satan, the enemy. And that's why the mark of the beast goes into the right hand, because it's not going in the left. But why would it go in the forehead? Because if you didn't have an arm, you had an amputee. He's not putting it in his left hand, but he'll put it in your head. So these are things, but people speculate, what is a narcissist? The ones that can't feel empathy and they're so destructive. We see these evil faces on them and stuff. I don't know. They could be fallen angels, but they would have to be. So this is the thing. Where are fallen angels? At this point, I personally believe that fallen angels are the hierarchy of the Illuminati system in human form. It says that they are the prince, the power of the air is Satan, which would be your TV and your media and your news and all that. That's the air, right? That's what we call the air. And the other thing is I believe the higher echelon of society may in fact be fallen angels, being God may have. We're in a dome, we're locked in a dome, the firmament, and there's water above it. That's why the sky is blue. And so it never said that God took the firmament down. And with that being said, it says he opened the windows to heaven and poured more water in. That would be the windows to the dome. So if we're locked in a dome and we can't get out of here, and space is kind of fake, or it's outside of the dome maybe, well, then you have to speculate, like, where are these fallen angels? I mean, flying around angels, I don't know how much they could do just flying around, and but maybe God has forced them. We don't believe in reincarnation for humanity, but just like fallen angels do have different set of rules that God placed on them, because they are different in their damnation. But he may have forced the fallen angels to be born into humanity over and over and over, and they can't get out of this locked unit, this dome. It's like a prison planet, and maybe he put the firmament up, because he locked them in here. and they're ruling over us over and over and over. Because when you follow the Illuminati, it's like they don't care about time. Time is not specific to them. You'd think when they get older that they would be doing different things because they're going to die soon, but they're not even concerned about that, like these presidents and things like that. Now, the fallen angels rule out of chaos, right? Chaos. We rule out of order to order, humanity and people of God. Okay, so we need order. But you learn from the narcissist that they rule out of chaos. Chaos is what they believe is order. That is their order. It's the flip of humanity. So if we work off order and they work off chaos, a new world order is always going to look chaotic to us. But to them, it's imperfection and it's sin. That they all know what they're doing. I mean, when you see, wars and things like that. And so my point is are all these presidents and leaders of these Fortune 500 companies and stuff like that, maybe they're born into humanity as tares, and they are the higher echelon, and the soldiers, the foot soldiers that take out the, humanity, maybe they are the demonic entities that maybe can hijack these narcissists, because they're lower than the fallen angels. If they're their sons and daughters, and they could be a separate set that is a lower version. So they're forced to take over and rule like that. So they are the soldiers. They're the ones that come in and take over humanity's weak, and then try to take out the light of people. And then the upper echelon may be the fallen angels, the Illuminati, the higher echelon, and they are the fallen angels born into humanity over and over. That's my opinion that I've come up with. And there could be, just because humanity's out here, a lot of people, sometimes when they get hurt and injured, and so, why would God allow these things? You got to speculate. Some of these may be imitation humanity. I mean, we wouldn't act any different because we don't know, but there could be people here that look like us, and God may have just put them in as fillers to test us based on whether we had faith to believe and hope to believe that, God is who he says he is, regardless. So I'm going to do a part 2 on this, but I got to go to work. So I love you all. Till next time. Peace. We out.